Chapter 4. The following morning, Cassie was doing the butty run before the team briefing when she met John Barron. "Morning, Cassie," he said casually, as he held the canteen door open for her. "Morning, Doc." She slipped past him, trying to remember who wanted brown sauce and who wanted red. "Oh, by the way," he called after her, "nothing came up on that corpse's DNA, nothing on file." "Right, I'll let them know." "Thanks, Cassie." "Oh, Doc." He turned to face her. "Yes?" "Our DI." "Yes?" "You know her better than anyone in the team." "Probably. Where's this going, Cassie? Not planning a surprise birthday party for her, are you?" Cassie looked shocked. "Oh, God, is it her birthday?" He grinned. "No idea, which tells you what I know about her, not much at all." "No, but probably more than we do." "Probably." "So, what's her backstory then, Doc?" Detective Inspector Wen Price was an enigma to Cassie, and she didn't like that lack of information. After all, knowledge is power. "Do you know what I think, Cassie?" John Barron looked slightly annoyed as he said this. "What?" "I think you should ask her yourself." "Don't tell me anything." She shrugged her shoulders and smiled. "And that's my point." John Barron released the door and headed back to the safety of his lab. The leads they had on the male victim now sitting in one of their coal cabinets were few and far between. The only fresh piece of information they had to go on was another missing male. "This one is 35, said Jake, a Martin Grimes, who lives with his mother and went missing last Thursday. He has a history of mental instability and has done this sort of thing before on several occasions, according to his mum, who is very worried about him." "Well, she's his mum," Cassie said. That's what everybody was thinking. "Yes, but he hasn't been taking his lithium, so she thinks he might do something stupid." Jake had a superior look on his face which said more plainly than words, "I've got more information than you, so shut it." "What sort of stupid?" Wen asked. "He tried to burn down a school." Richard almost choked on his butty. "We kids in it?" "No, at night, thank God. Did a lot of damage, though. He's also cut his wrists, taken an overdose, and tried to drown himself. Not all at the same time, obviously." "Obviously," said Cassie sarcastically, arms folded across her chest. "I would say his mum's got reason to be concerned," Jake said smugly. "Wouldn't you, Sarge?" Wen got up from her seat. "Right, I'll go and have a word with his mum. Becky, find out who his community psychiatric nurses are and talk to them. In the meantime, any leads on our other two lost boys?" Before anyone could speak, a uniformed officer barged into the office. "Don't you know how to knock, Constable?" Wen said wearily. "Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. But the desk sergeant said to go up straight away and tell you." "Tell me what?" Wen barked. "There's another body, ma'am, and this one's worse." This time, Wen and her team beat Socko by a good 5 minutes. She found herself in a local park at a children's play area, looking at the body of a young woman, hanging like a crucifixion from a climbing frame. Her abdomen had been opened, and her entrails drooped flaccidly like meat in a butcher's window. As a final flourish, her eyes had been gouged out. Blood pooled on the ground below the body. Wen didn't want to look at the corpse, but she couldn't drag her gaze away. "Who discovered the body?" she asked, trying to think of this horrific sight as work. Her work. "A paper boy. 6 this morning," said a uniformed officer, who'd been the first one on the scene after the boy. "He's been taken to hospital. They're treating him for shock." "I'm not surprised," said Wen. She managed to look away from the corpse as a white van turned up, closely followed by 3 other cars. John Barron emerged from one of the cars and immediately went to his boot and started dressing for the occasion. Wen walked towards him. "We've got a problem," she said as he wriggled into his white suit. John glanced at the scene. "Not the same MO, though." "No, but since when have we had 2 sadistic murders within days around here?" "True, but let's not jump to any conclusions until we know more." Wen was glad of his voice of reason. "I definitely need to know more. I'll be at the PM, John." He nodded and grabbed his case, ready to start work on the poor soul now being covered by a screen. "Right, Cassie," Wen beckoned her sergeant over. "Any CCTV in the vicinity? I want it viewed. We need as many uniforms as we can get to do a search from here in all directions. Richard and Becky, door to door at the nearest housing estate, please. Did anyone see or hear anything? Is anyone missing from the area?" She looked at her team. "I'm going to the chief. I think we have a serial killer on our hands." He watched from a distance, through the viewfinder. It was going well. They didn't have a clue about the first body, but he had left them more to work with this time. It would, however, point them in completely the wrong direction. Maybe he would leave the next one a week or so. The media would have a field day when they knew all about this, and he would be the one to tell them. "I think you're being a bit previous, Wen. A serial killer? Really?" Chief Inspector Charles Manning looked tense. "I know what you're thinking, sir, but it's more than a coincidence. 2 brutal murders within a week here in Warrington. But these 2 bodies go against everything that points to multiple murder, Wen. You studied psychology, you know that. Serial killers have a pattern. They go for the same type of victim. They kill in the same way. I've just got a feeling that these 2 are linked, and I was wondering—" "I know what you're going to say, Wen, and the answer is no. Not yet, at any rate." The Chief Inspector gave Wen the look of a man being backed into a corner. 3+ bodies before we can claim we might have a serial killer. You know that." Wen folded her arms. "So we wait until another body turns up, do we?" "No, we wait until we have more information before we call in Jeff Morgan." Wen exhaled. "I think we need him now, sir." "Have you any idea how much a profiler costs?" the chief demanded. "If you had my budget, you'd hold off." Wen gave him a stern look. "With respect, sir, I don't think money should come before public safety." "These murder inquiries are going to push expenditure anyhow, you know that." Wen held his gaze. "Oh, for God's sake, all right." She smiled. "Thank you, sir." "Just 1 day for his opinion. Are you clear on that, Detective Inspector?" "Sir." "And when?" "Yes, sir." "Have you given it any more thought about acting up as DCI?" "Yes, sir. The answer is still no. No, thank you, sir." "Why?" "We're having a job getting a temporary replacement for Marilyn Adelane. God alone knows how long she'll be off." "I don't want a promotion, sir, not even a temporary one. I like where I am with my career right now." "Oh, all right, but I won't give up asking, you know." "Yes, sir." As she closed the Chief Inspector's door, Wen knew her boss understood why she couldn't take a promotion, but neither of them wanted to go there. For now, she had a more pressing problem: Jeff Morgan. Having him on the case was a double-edged sword. He was good, very good. But Wen hated him with a passion after what he'd done to her.